Okay, so I'm going to attempt to review the Titan TTB579PLN, which is a planer thicknesser and also jointer. Now, this is actually my second one that I've had, because the first one sadly broke after 24 days, which is not great, but screw fix were very good, and they, with no quibbles at all, told me that if I went to my local store that they would replace it, which they did, say with no quibbles. So I'm just hoping that this one lasts a bit longer. In an ideal world, if I had my time again, I think I would buy a separate thicknesser rather than having joints. I would get one that was far beefier, like one of the much better well-known makes. But I live on the Isle of Man, and we're very limited in what we can actually get shipped over here. Quite often, if it's being couriered to us, they either just won't do it, or if they will do it, then they want hundreds of pounds to get it over here. So this is pretty well the only thing that I can get on the Isle of Man. I might, next time I'm in the UK, next time I'm in England, I might see if I can call by a screw fix or a B&Q or somewhere like that, and see if I can actually get a beefier one. But for now, this is what I have to do, and yeah, let's see what we've got here. So as I say, this is the second one I've had, so this should be relatively straightforward, having done it once before. It's quite heavy, but it's not beyond the lifting capacity of one person. It's just quite a heavy load. As long as you're reasonably fit, I think most people should be able to lift it on their own. The main thing is, when it's in the box, like it is at the moment, it's just the sheer size of the thing. It's really a big beast when it's in the box. Once it's out of the box, really not too much of a problem. It's really just quite an awkward size when it's in the box. The instructions, which should be fairly familiar to me, seeing how this is the second one. It does take a little while to put together. There are a few steps involved. You see just how awkward it is. That's the safeguard and dust extraction. Well, not extraction as such, but dust port. That's the additional dust port that you can use. You don't have to, just to be a bit more directional. Comes with a couple of these push pads. Not the best, quite slippery in fact, which is not really what you want from a push pad, but it's free, so they're free, so you can't really complain. But I think for doing the jointing, I'd want to get some paid for better push pads. Right, let's see if we can get this out. See, it's quite a manoeuvre on your own to actually get this thing out of the packaging. I'm doing better than the first time. I'm having to actually break the polystyrene, so that was the only way to get it out. So I've done better this time. Right, that's it. It's out. Okay. So, back to front. That's the back of the machine that I'm looking at there. Okay, so conventional power lead. Obviously, being in the UK, it's a UK 3-pin plug. Draws quite current. I do run it attached to a 4-bar, so it can't be too bad. Okay, that's the fence when you're doing jointing. The surface is quite, you saw there's a protection on there, it is quite delicate, quite easy to scratch. I don't think it's a problem, it doesn't really affect the accuracy, but it's relatively delicate brushed aluminium, I think. Okay, so that's your planer, jointer. Should really be looking at the instructions rather than just guessing, but without wishing to repeat myself, this isn't my first one. Okay, looking. So fitting the guide fence. Okay, so maybe the first thing I'm going to do is to put the feet on the bottom. These 4 rubberized feet, which I put on last time. I don't know what they bring to the party, but I guess a bit of stability maybe. Okay, so you've just got a hex bolt, a washer, and a rubber foot to provide the hex wrenches, but I'm going to use my own. But the first time I put it together, I did actually use the provided tools, so I know that they work and that they've provided everything you need. So, just getting these up here because I'm going to tip it forwards in order to put the feet on. So, what about packaging? It's a big old beast. Okay, so there's nothing particularly delicate on the back there. There's nothing that I'm going to damage by lying it on its back. So I'm just going to lie it on its back. Probably want to lie it on its back rather than on its front because you don't really want to lie on this power switch here. Okay, so we've got a fire case don't know. Okay. 11.5 or 6. 6. Okay, so that's the 6 mil. And I'm just going to go up through the rubber foot, like so, into each of these places for the rubber feet. Don't think they need to be particularly tightened, really. They're not going to get loosened. I mean, I was going to say it's not much vibration. This machine will make more noise than you can possibly enjoy. I always wear ear protection as well as eye protection, kind of when I'm operating any of my machinery really, but this one in particular is very, very noisy, so you will want to wear protection for this. I'll put the foot on. And the fork foot goes on here. Right, so next is the guide fence. Just put it on one side because I'm not going to use the provided ones. So that's 6 mil. Okay, so the guide fence. It's easier if you're looking at it straight on. So the guide fence you've got okay, yeah. So with this one, there is in your instruction manual, part number 45. It is important. It's a little metal plate. And it's just got a slight lug on it, and it's just worth putting that lug, making sure you've got that lug in exactly the right place, the right side of the attachment. As I say, it's detailed in the instruction manual, and they do this little lug here. They do show a close-up of it as well, so it is quite important to get that right. 2 screws in there, and 2 little washers. So we can go through there, into there. I did get this wrong the first time, I think. So there's 2 holes there. It's going to go up like that. Those 2 holes there. Now, if you've watched any YouTube reviews of this device, you'll know that what most people complain about is the fence. It is pretty shocking. I think this planer has been around. I think this thicknesser planer has been around at Screwfix for some years, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have improved the design over the years, because it's not quite as shocking as a lot of the reviewers were making out. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's been strengthened a bit, but I found you could get it pretty accurate. But I know a lot of people on YouTube have actually made their own fences to go on this, which is probably not a bad idea, and maybe something I'll have a look at. Yeah, okay. I'm definitely gonna have to adjust that, because I don't know if you can see looking down there, but it's I'm basically going to be at that angle. Everything I put through here is going to be at an angle. So that's definitely going to have to be something I'm looking at later. And in fact, it's already starting to scratch the bed, the feed-in bed. So that definitely, as I say, all your YouTube videos will all point to the fact that the fence is the weakest part of this entire machine. It's a budget machine, so not very much. Okay, so we then have the safety guard. So some people have complained about the fact that by making this machine safe, they've made it quite inconvenient. It is a bit cumbersome to switch between planing and thicknessing. It is a bit of a job to switch between because of all the safety features. But I thought I could stop it from squeaking, but I can't. But you know, ultimately, I'm not in a hurry. I'm retired. I don't really care how long it takes to switch between. It's that's not something that particularly worries me. But I know that some people have complained about it. So that basically slides along to cover. You put your piece of wood in there, and as you slide it through, you want as little of that blade exposed as possible, so that there's almost no chance of you catching this. All this is completely covered, so there's no chance of you catching your hand by mistake, which would be bad, to say the least. Okay. So I'm going to put flat washer, peanut, and again they have provided a spanner, not a particularly good one, but it does the job. Obviously you'd hopefully have a set of better spanners, which I have got over there somewhere, but ultimately this is not a particularly essential attachment. It goes on once. Yep, that's fine. And we have this one and 31, which is another flat washer. Okay, so that's why there was one in there then. This one goes on there, and this is basically to lock it down. I don't know why you'd want to, but you could have it up like that. Again, I'm not sure. I just always have it flat, and then the only adjustment I do is in this direction, cover up as much of the blade as I need to. So to be quite honest, once those two are on, I'm not adjusting those. Cutter guard, height adjustment handle. Okay, voila, and that just goes, fits on there. It's a shaft, but it's squared on one side, so that can only go on one way. And that just moves this thickness up and down, either for when you're planing or when you're attaching the dust port. So that's quite important. Okay, fitting the feed-in table up. Yeah. Okay. Basically, this is what this knob on the end here, which you can't probably see, is what dictates the angle of this in-feed table, which in turn, when you're jointing, decides how much you're going to take off. But it's locked in place, and from my memory, one of these back here It's going to be easier if I turn it. Turn it to you so you can see it. Okay, I think it's that one, but it's not an M5. Yeah, it's that one. It's that one, but it's definitely not M5. Yeah, so that needs to come out. So they've just done that for the purpose of locking it in place while it was travelling, because we're actually going to put, it's really stiff, but it is that one that wants to come out. You can see the diagram. Okay, so that wants to come out. And in its place, we're going to put this bad boy, and washer 35 had earlier, but couldn't work out what it was going to get used for. So that's washer 35. So as I remember, loosen that off. Yeah. Okay. So this is loosened, which means I can turn this knob on the end. And as I'm turning that, there's a guide on the front here that tells me how much I'm going to be taking off. They recommend no more than 1 mil at a time. The gauge goes down to 3 mil, but that would be quite an ask. It's not the beefiest of machines, and I think the reason why my other machine only lasted for 24 days was I think I probably asked too much of it, and the transmission just stopped. The motor was still going, but this blade wasn't turning, and in here one of the transmission belts had hopped off the pulleys, and in the process of popping off it sliced itself, and I think that was just too much tension. So go easy on it. Yep, and then you just lock that in position with that one that you've just seen me putting on. Okay, so that's the in-feed table locking knob. That's it. So we're done. So that wasn't too bad, but as I say, I have done it before, and so in theory I know what I'm doing. So let's just give it a quick demo. This will do all sorts of horrible things to the noise levels on the camera, because, as I say, this thing is very, very noisy. So before you can do anything, I think I'm going to do planing, thicknessing, because that's actually easier to do and is easier to set up. If you're going to do jointing across here, this has to go. That table has to be wound all the way down to the bottom. This goes on the top. That bolt gets fastened up through the top, and then it comes all the way up. And until you've done that, and this little switch here presses a micro switch inside here, until you've done that, the machine won't run. So in reverse, if you're going to do any thicknessing, this needs to go on the top here, and there are, for some bizarre reason, they've given us an Allen key hex bolt on one side hex bolt on one side and a thumb control on the other, which seems a bit inconsistent. So as you tighten this, this pushes this down. So this blade is now completely covered. So that's your safety there, is that the blade is now being used inside the machine, but it's the same blade, it's the same drum that's going round, whether you're doing thicknessing or whether you're doing jointing, but the top of it is now completely covered. And as you screw this down, this pushes this piece of plastic here down into a micro switch, and when it gets to the right level and it's in, you press the micro switch and then the machine will work. So that should, I think, in theory, from what I remember, be all I need to do. So now, if you've got a great machine back, lucky you, with that sort of capacity, put that on there, and you put your machine dust extraction on there. I don't have anything like that. I have a 40-year-old Vax. So I just basically push that in there, and it catches about 75% of the chips, which is better than nothing. It's a good vac, therefore it is actually catching most of the stuff that comes out. So given that I'm going to do thicknessing, okay, so what I would do here, so it's 16 mil at the moment. So there's a scale down here which says what the thickness is going to be, and by winding this, I'm going to put it to 16 mil. Now I'm not expecting, the first time I put that through deliberately, I'm not expecting it to take anything off at all if I've got my measurements right, and then I will slowly wind it down, and this is what I was doing when I broke the belt, so I'm going to try to take it nice and easy. Okay, so I need ear protection and eye protection. I've got my wood, I'm going to feed it in there. Got my Vax, which needs to be switched on. So this is where it's going to get very, very noisy. So you won't be able to hear anything I'm saying from now onwards. There he goes. Okay, so I'm happy with that. That's quite nicely taken both those down to, knocked off all the roughness. So I started with a point like that. It's taken them down to quite a nice surface on both sides, and I can now use that for one of my projects. So it's a pretty reasonable machine. I am slightly nervous now every time I put a piece of wood through it that the belt's going to go. I guess I just have to take these adjustments really slowly and just hope for the best. And ultimately, if it happens in the next 28 days, then Screwfix will replace it again. I think I probably wouldn't go for another replacement. I think I probably would go for a refund. Then I'd be stuck with no machine at all, no jointing and no thicknessing facility. But yeah, so I mean, it's heavy, it's noisy. I paid £199 for it. I was going to say it's cheap, but it's not. £199 isn't that cheap, really. I'll do another video where I switch this round to do jointing, because that takes quite a few minutes in itself. But having run it successfully for 24 days and being very happy with it, I hope that was just a one-off. I might take this cover off and have a look, and just check that the belts look in reasonable condition. Hopefully the belt was already faulty, as opposed to just breaking because I asked too much of it. But I hope that's been helpful, and any comments, any questions, please let me know. Thank you.